Just when you thought he was out, he pulls you back in. David Andrews back on the practice field on Tuesday. What does it mean for the Patriots' Thursday night, Thanksgiving night matchup with the Minnesota Vikings? Stay tuned. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button and download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidate you want to talk to, and they help you do it faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. And folks, a lot to talk about today on this Wednesday midweek episode, Thanksgiving week episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. And as you can see, it is midweek, and she is back here, folks, in her rightful place, and always lending the wisdom and counsel the way only she can. Columnist extraordinaire for PatsPropaganda.com, as well as Full Press Coverage Patriots.com, where she hosts her very own Patriots podcast, The Clare Perspective. Folks, one of the great listens in Patriots media. If you haven't checked it out already, what are you waiting for? Please do it. I highly recommend it. But you can always find her here each and every Wednesday as well. The illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper joins me today. Claire, thank you so much for joining me from across the pond.
Oh, well, thank you very much, as usual, for having me on the show. And happy pre-Thanksgiving to everybody. I know it's a little bit early, so yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. We always appreciate that, Claire. Thank you so much. And, it's a happier mood here on the pod this week. Murph and I took the microphone on Monday, and we were excited without any question. Murph loves to watch, for a green guy himself, he loves to watch green teams fall, but he was very much enthusiastic, and it always is when the Patriots take out the Jets, especially on Thanksgiving week. You get butt fumble, flashbacks. It's all good, but the New England Patriots 10-3 victory over the New York Jets was a big one for the Pats because it moved them to 6-4, keeps them in playoff contention. Now all of a sudden they're 2 games over 500. They're above the Jets in the standings, so this is something that is very important for New England, and they face a tough test coming up this Thursday against the Minnesota Vikings. But first, Countess, there are definite things to talk about by no stretch of the imagination, and we're going to get to what I teased to open the show today in just a minute, and that is the incredible toughness of David Andrews, but wouldn't be doing my job unless we gave a tip of the cap to Patriots rookie return specialist Marcus Jones, who was named AFC Special Teams Player of the Week for his performance on Sunday. 84 yards to the house. Just an incredible week for the kid, and really, I think the start of so many special moments for him in a Patriots uniform. Claire, before we get into the logistics of, Sunday's matchup, what it means, and also a little bit into Thursday night's matchup, what was your reaction as you watched Marcus dart down the field and head toward the end zone with less than 5 seconds remaining?
It was one of those things. It was a little bit like almost like you were watching kind of like a movie, because it was like that was the one thing that they needed. Like, as you said, there was like 5 seconds left. Well, as he finished, there was 5 seconds left, but it was like the last few moments of the game. What can be done to win this, win the matchup and stuff like that. And there he is, kind of zipping down the field, kind of missing blocks, this, that, and the other. And it's like each step was like, more. Oh my gosh, he got further, you know, because usually they get taken down or they get blocked or whatever. And it was just, he kept going and he kept going and he kept going. And then it was the end and it was like, you've got to be kidding me. They needed that. And then he got it. So it was just, yeah, I'm sure that the whole of Patriots Nation were probably on their feet or whatever by that time if they hadn't left, because yeah, we won't mention how kind of great the game was prior to that moment.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that because we're moving forward, so we won't go over there. But yeah, it was surreal. That is definitely the word. If I need to sum it up in one word, it was surreal, because it as I said, it was so needed, it was so good, that kind of thing. And then they won, and it was like, ha, so there you go, 14-0 JETS.
14 in a row. 14 in a row is definitely impressive against any NFL team. And look, for all of the stuff that the Jets are catching this week, especially quarterback Zach Wilson, who, I'm sorry to say it, folks, brought a lot of this on himself. The New England Patriots definitely can feel very happy and very proud of that accomplishment, and being able to to show that type of resilience in a game that really was there for the taking. And not a whole lot of offensive production, really, I think, is something that this team is going to, desperately need. And we're going to get into how the Patriots might be able to get some better offensive production this coming Thursday and beyond with one of Claire's favorite subjects. We're going to talk a little tight endage in just a moment, folks. But we're going to start off with another one of your favorite subjects, and that is offensive line. And Claire, amidst all the excitement and the hoopla that surrounded Marcus Jones' punt return, there was really, I think, a pall that could have been cast over this game with David Andrews going down with a thigh injury. He leaves the field. It did not look good. I mean, obviously, anybody watching that game or in attendance saw David being helped off the field by, trained team personnel that were trying to, help alleviate the pain. He couldn't put any weight on the leg. Just a really, really scary situation. You hear almost immediately following the game from reputable sources that he's going to be out possibly for the rest of the season. You're thinking at this point, here we go. It's next man up. James Ferentz, Cody Russi. These guys have to, round into shape. And then all of a sudden the reports start to trickle out. 98.5 Sports Hub's Scott Zolak says, I think this might be a bad report. He might have a chance. And then all of a sudden, Ian Rappaport's report comes out from NFL Network saying that he has a chance to maybe be back this season. Practice comes on Tuesday, and there's David Andrews standing out there, much to the surprise of everybody. Obviously, the news that's coming out now is that the MRI results coming back show that this is an injury that David feels he can play through. Still early to determine, at the time Claire and I are recording this, folks, to determine whether or not he's going to suit up for Thursday. But just an amazing turn of events for the New England Patriots. First of all, are you surprised that David is able to do what he does, given his leadership, his toughness? And what type of impact can this have on the Patriots, not just for Thursday, but even beyond, having him in the lineup?
I mean, to be honest, obviously, we weren't sort of made completely privy to what the injury was, that kind of thing. So, yes, initially looking at it, it looked really bad, as you mentioned. So then you sort of concerned that he's going to be out for a long period of time. Now, on the flip side of that, if there's any Patriot that is going to be super tough, it's David Andrews. I mean, if there's any Patriot that's just going to rub dirt on it and carry on, it's David Andrews. And that's of nothing negative against any other Patriot whatsoever, any other Patriots player. It's just that this guy, like, he just eludes that sort of sense of toughness, of strength and things like that. And that's another thing that sort of makes him so invaluable to the Patriots, to the offensive line, is because he's so stable. He's this kind of calming, presence, this pulling together stability, and he's just so damn good at his job. At the end of the day, there's no bones about it, he's an amazing center and stuff like that. So surprised that I'm sort of not surprised that he's kind of not over his injury, obviously. And again, we don't know the severity of the injury, but it almost doesn't surprise me because of the kind of guy, the kind of player that David Andrews is. Yes, when we were looking at the situation of him being out for the rest of the season, kind of it dashed all hopes of the offensive line getting good, putting it together, sorting it out, whatever, because it really sort of it spreads out from the center. And we know that David Andrews being a captain, that sort of thing, he's the nucleus of that offensive line, and he's important. So him not being there is a really big deal, particularly when we're looking at an offensive line that is suffering so much with skill set carouseling, the shuffling around. It just can't get that gel quite right. For whatever reason it may be, you want to blame the individual players, you want to blame the moving of the players, you want to blame the coaching, you want to blame, dare I say, the lack of coaching, and you want to blame the fact that it's a defensive guy on an offensive situation. Whichever one of those, it's still, at the end of the day, it's still an O-line that's not really working. And to lose, as I said, its nucleus of David Andrews was concerning. I hope he doesn't come back too soon and cause himself some sort of excessive of damage, because he's too good a player to sacrifice his future for the next couple of games. If he was to sit the Vikings game out, I wouldn't be at all concerned. I'd almost be happy, because I just want him to be okay. At the end of the day, a season is a season, but the guy's got a life as well. So, I'd almost be okay if he sits out the Vikings game, as I said, but having him there is also such a reassurance, such a stability. And the way that it's got a runoff effect, particularly in regards to Cole Strange, that we're pretty certain now that when Andrews isn't in, Cole Strange doesn't seem to be able to kind of like peak performance it, and that's unfortunate. And I really hope that he's got the facilities within himself, Cole Strange that is, to kind of rise above that. I'm hoping that it's just like, it's the elements of it's his rookie season. He's still making his way, that kind of thing. And he can get the strength without having to have David Andrews at center, being able to deal with if it is Ferentz and that sort of thing. So mentioning Ferentz, actually, I know that he's been, from what I understand, he's been working really hard. So, I don't want to take away from him. It's just, we know that when the O-line's there, it is better with Andrews at centre, and it's unfortunate. It's a given. That's kind of how it is, and that's how it's going to be. And it is a shame, because I do understand from what I've read and stuff that Frenzy's working really hard, and he worked really hard on the off season, because he knows how key Andrews is to the offense. So, and he knows that they're like big shoes to fill, and he's been sort of trying to step up to do that. So you kind of want to give him kudos for that, really for trying. So, I hopefully he's back as soon as is okay for him. I suppose a bit of a on the fence kind of wishy-washy answer, but that's really what I'm looking for, because you want this guy for the future. You want him to still be able to build the offense around. But if you're just looking at the Vikings game, it's like, it's fingers crossed that he's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely, without any question. And look, you're talking about a guy that is so vital to what this team does logistically, especially along the offensive line. And I think you articulated this very well, the impact he has on a rookie like Cole Strange at the left guard position, always keeping him in position, always making sure that he knows where he needs to be. Michael Waynu has also acknowledged this as well on the right side, a little bit more of a veteran presence there from Mike, but still a young player. And you're talking about someone that relies on that savvy veteran, a six-time team captain like David Andrews, being in the middle. All of a sudden, it shores up run blocking. It shores up pass protection. It makes sure that Mac Jones has that security under center that he needs to be able to make complete throws. And over the course of the last few games, you're looking at Mac Jones having an average of anywhere from 2.1 to 2.8 seconds to get a pass off before the pressure engulfs him and collapses the pocket. I don't care who you are. You're not going to be able to get a pass off in that time if you're Mac Jones, if you're Bailey Zappi. I would say if you're Tom Brady, but I've seen him do it several times. So, I mean, Tom is on a different level. I'm not going to start comparing these guys to Tom Brady, but at the same time, I think fans have to understand that there is such a complementary nature of the way offensive football is played, and it starts on the O-line. David Andrews keeps that in line. But
Completely.
The spiritual leading that he gives to this team, the emotional lift that he provides, and the leadership that he provides in that locker room, to me, is just as important as anything he does on the field. Maybe with the exception of Devin McCourty and Matthew Slater, you're talking probably the most vocal and the most in tune leader on this roster. And Mac Jones said it yesterday when we spoke to him in the media in the evening. Absolutely loves David Andrews, and really a testament to how tough he is, just him being out there. Again, folks, at the time Claire and I are recording this, we don't have line of sight as to whether or not David even made the trip to Minnesota. If he did, I would say be on the lookout for him to take the field in this game. I don't think he's traveling if he's not playing. If he doesn't, then obviously, it will be a loss for the Patriots. But the good sign is that he's back out there on the field, and it looks like he's avoided serious injury, and hopefully he'll be ready for the December 1st matchup with the Buffalo Bills when the Patriots come back home. Claire.
Yeah, I think that's key. The point that you make is although it's every game is like a must win now, that sort of thing, but having him back for against the Bills, I think is much more significant. It feels like the Vikings game is a bit of a maybe win without him. There's a bit more possibility, but the Bills game, it feels and it being a divisional game, it's just that little bit more important. So I think that if they were to rest him for the Vikings game, even if he felt like he was okay, if they still took that attitude of, let's not have you travel, let's rest, that kind of thing, and be back for the Bills game, I think that would really give me a lot more confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, bottom line, Claire, it's not going to be an easy matchup because not just is the O-line struggling, but there is struggle with the quarterback position. There is struggle all over the field right now, maybe with the exception of Ramondre Stevenson, who still continues to be very good out there, and no matter what he does. But the Patriots need offensive prowess, and they might be able to find that offensive prowess if they dip into some tight endage. And that's exactly what we're going to do in just a moment here. Talk a little Claire's favorite subject when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy Online. Folks, we live in complex times, and whether it be emotional stress, financial stress, health-related stress, or the type of stress that's related to social anxiety, trying therapy can help you unload it and move forward in gaining emotional healing. Unfortunately, life does not come with a user manual, so when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills. That makes therapy the closest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine that's called you. Everyone deserves to feel their best, and BetterHelp makes it easier for you to get started. As the world's largest therapy service, they've matched millions of people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. All of the benefits of in-person therapy, plus it's more convenient, more accessible, and more affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist, and if things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. That's right, folks. It could not be simpler. So get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off of your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Patriots fans, the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper of Pat's Propaganda and Full Press Coverage Patriots joins me here today, lending a little wisdom and counsel along with some class and pizzazz to the show. And Claire, in the previous segment, we talked about one of your favorite subjects, which is offensive linemen. We know you have a nice little affinity for David Andrews, as we all do here in Patriots Nation, but Claire is about to get a little giddy, folks, because we are going to talk some tight end. Claire, what I've seen from the tight ends this year has been flashes of prominence, but vast inconsistency. Hunter Henry was present for 84% of New England's plays on Sunday. Spent most of his time aligning as a run blocker. He caught his only target for a 20-yard gain, but it's a big gain. And this is where the Patriots can utilize these guys in the open field. Jonnu Smith, little more production, 4 catches, 40 yards, 34 snaps that he played. But a lot of what you saw coming from the tight ends was big plays, or productive plays, I should say, coming out of play action. And this is something that Murph and I have talked about, Steve and I have talked about, you and I have talked about. the fact that there has been such a decrease in the utilization of play action on this team is one thing that none of us can really figure out why. It works well. It's something that allows the Patriots offense to click. We saw them do it a little bit with Bailey Zappi, and for some reason, they're pulling the plug a little bit when it comes to Mac Jones. That being said, I know that you see things in the tight ends as opposed to where our vantage point is on the quarterbacks that most of us mere mortals don't see. When you look at Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith specifically, did Sunday's game give you any hope that they may now be in a position to contribute more offensively, especially in the red zone?
I think it's difficult because as we've said, and I hate to be repetitive because this is repeating myself from show to show, but it all comes back to the O-line and them, like you said, that the tight ends could play 100% of the snaps, but if they're having to line up as blockers more so than anything else, you aren't going to get any stats out there. You aren't going to get any kind of, as you said, good run play action, that sort of thing. You aren't going to get the numbers that everybody is screaming for because of the money that they spent on the tight ends. It's unfortunate that they're having to utilize them at the moment in regards to an extension of the O-line, because you've got a pocket collapsing so much. There's no good having a tight end that kind of can get out there, that can get contested catches or whatever, can make it to the red zone, any of that, if the quarterback's on his butt because the O-line has crumbled so much that he can't get the ball out. So
right.
It's really, it becomes irrelevant when you've got such pressure coming on the O-line. So obviously, we all hope that they get to utilize them more. We know that they know how to use them because we've seen it. We saw it last season, not excessively, but to a plentiful degree, shall we say, with Mac Jones and Hunter Henry. We saw that last season, so we know that they know. As you mentioned, we're seeing flashes now from Smith. They're starting to grow into a way of utilizing him in the Patriots offense, because we know there was a bit of a sticking point initially, him learning the playbook, and we know, it's been slow to start in regards to utilizing Smith, but it seems to be that they're finding their way. They're seeing how that works, how he works in the offense. But it just all drags back to them not having a strong enough O-line for Mac to get the ball out to anyone, be it tight ends, wide receivers, anything, that kind of thing. So it's something that we've seen they know how to do. They should be increasing it because it's successful. It's if they can get the O-line in a good place to give Mac the opportunity to do that.
Right. Absolutely. Very, very well said. And look, we know, and you've articulated this very well, that most of what a tight end is required to do is be a balance between a potential weapon on the field and also a run blocker, or even in pass protection as well. I mean, that's part of what this position aligns you to do. The New England Patriots now just brought in a backup offensive lineman that has a little tight endage experience in himself, and that's Connor McDermott, who was signed yesterday for the New England Patriots. Started off as a high school tight end, believe it or not, converted to offensive line when he went to UCLA, and really, I think, did very well, caught the Patriots' eye. But this is someone that can align in a jumbo tight end package. And jumbo, yeah, folks, 6'8". This guy is definitely not lacking for size or toughness. So this is going to be a good pickup for the New England Patriots. He could be an option in what they were aligning Marcus Cannon in earlier this year, and that's that jumbo tight end package.
Yeah.
Saw Michael Wayne do it last year as well. That can help to kickstart a little bit of the position. But obviously, Jonnu and Hunter were brought in here to be offensive weapons as well. That's a big part of what they do. And I think you articulated very well exactly how they might be able to do that. And to me, I think it starts with play action.
Quick question. You said the O-line guy that's come in was also a tight end. Is he the Jets guy, or is he the second O-line guy that was a tight end?
No, there are actually a couple that do have tight endage experience. Very good. Yeah. Very astute observation, Claire.
See, this is it. I knew there's a guy on the practice squad. I can't remember his name, so you've got to forgive me for that. But they've just brought in an O-line guy onto the practice squad who used to play tight ends, but then he's kind of beefed up a little bit to be an O-line guy. And now there's another O-line guy who's come in, as you mentioned, just Garrett, and he was from the Jets, I believe. So we're just doing an offensive line of tight ends. See, folks, I'm not crazy.
No, you are not crazy. Well, not in this regard anyway. I don't know. Jury's still out on a lot of other stuff. But But no, you're thinking of Hunter Thedford, who's the an ex
Yes.
USFL tight end
Yes.
slash offensive lineman. Definitely a good weapon to have in the cupboard for the New England Patriots on the practice squad. Hayden Howerton as well is still on the practice squad, and of course the versatile and uh, greatest name on the team, Bill Murray. He's there as well, and this is something that, of course, as a Bill Murray fan, I love it. Um, I think Bill's heard all the jokes, though. We had a chance to rib him about it a
I
little
would
during
imagine
training
so.
camp,
Yes.
and
He
I don't
must
think
do.
he
Yeah,
wasn't
poor
really
guy.
having too much of it. I think he's kind of had his fill of maybe looking at social media, and every time Bill Murray is mentioned, seeing one of those .gif files following him around. I'm as guilty as anyone. I've done that several times. So, but anyway, back to the tight endage,
Yes.
Claire. You
Anyway.
bring us
Yes.
back in once again. No, all kidding aside, the Patriots, do have two offensive linemen that do have that type of experience. But again, Jonnu and Hunter, we saw a little bit. You hear Mac Jones talk about this week in, week out, day after day, whenever he speaks to the media and he's asked about his tight ends. The first thing that he says is he loves throwing to both of those guys. He's got a close relationship with Hunter, developing a really good close relationship with Jonnu. Hopefully that will continue. And hopefully it'll continue beyond this season, because I don't think the Patriots have really scratched the surface of what these two guys can do on the field together in 12-man personnel. We're hoping for it last year when they first signed. I still don't think we've seen the full potential yet. So.
No, I agree.
Tight endage is coming, Claire.
We pray for tight endage.
Folks, as we take our leave of tight endage for the time being, we are not just quite ready to wrap things up yet here on the Locked On Patriots podcast, because there is a Thanksgiving night game to discuss, and it is time to turn our attention away from speculation, away from those Jets, and focus on the purple and gold of the Minnesota Vikings. This Thursday, 8:20 p.m., U.S. Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota. The New England Patriots take their 6-4 record and try to extend their winning streak against the Vikings. Claire is going to take a brief look into the tea leaves. We're not going to do a full clairvoyance, but she is going to try to read a little bit of what's in the air regarding her thoughts on the Vikings and what can you expect from the New England Patriots in this matchup. We will do so when this pre-Thanksgiving episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, folks, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team to help you do it faster. And here's the best part, actually help you do it for free. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and who you'd like to hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Patriots fans, we're about to wrap things up here on this pre-Thanksgiving episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast. Always my honor, always my privilege to be joined by the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper of Pat's Propaganda and Full Press Coverage Patriots. And Claire, in the previous segments, we talked tight endage, we talked offensive line. We're really kind of delving into all of your favorite subjects today, really. I think Claire could not be happier. Exactly. You may think it was a pre-Christmas episode rather than a pre-Thanksgiving episode, but we are thankful for your wisdom and counsel. And the one thing that we're always thankful for here on Locked On Patriots is your clairvoyance. And although it's a short week, the tea leaves folks are still kind of, making their way through the the pipeline to try to make it to Claire. So we can't exactly read too many tea leaves just yet. But at the same time, you do still have this clairvoyant nature to you, Claire. And after all, it is your name. You kind of have to do that. So and plus, it works for the segment. So we're going to continue to ride it for as long as we possibly can, because I love play on words, and we're just going to do it. So, bottom line, Claire, the New England Patriots, the Minnesota Vikings, this is not going to be an easy one for the Patriots. I know the Vikings are coming off of a 40-3 drubbing at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys. Um, just a really poor showing on both sides of the ball. But this is a team that is 8-2 right now. They have found consistent ways to not only remain competitive, but also pull out victories. Their victory over the Buffalo Bills 2 weeks ago was extremely impressive. Come from behind. Justin Jefferson is in another league when it comes to making those types of catches. But this team is very equipped on both sides of the balls. Darius Smith is a beast when it comes to the pass rush, 9.5 sacks. When you look at the Minnesota Vikings, you look at the New England Patriots, in your clairvoyant nature, in your clairvoyant essence, what are you looking for in this game coming up on Thanksgiving night?
Well, as you just said, though, I mean, they just took a beating from the Cowboys, but they beat the Bills. It's like this whole season, this 2022 season is nothing but hinky. Teams are losing when they should be winning, and they're winning when they should so be losing, that kind of thing. It's totally and utterly hinky. And I think I've said that for a few weeks now, and it really is. And because of that, it's really difficult to go into a game kind of knowing, shall we say, how it's going to work out, because there's also the fact that the Patriots have been playing so inconsistently lately because of kind of offensive woes, this, that, and the other. So you can't really go into a game and sort of know where you think they're going to go, because, I mean, the Bears game, enough said, really. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I looked at the stats, and the Patriots have now got the 10th ranked defense on PFF, which is really good. But the Vikings have got the 10th ranked offense, which I thought was very, very interesting to
Mm-hmm.
sort of see how this is going to match up. So I'm afraid I don't have much clairvoyance for you. It's looking very foggy, very misty out there in regards to kind of projecting the future with regard to that. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. Now, if the Patriots go out there and the Vikings make it really easy for them, I also wouldn't be surprised, because they're that kind of team. They can be really good, but you can also expect them to be really bad. And I know that it's unfortunate that the Vikings don't get a load of respect when it comes to the NFL, I think. And it's unfortunate because their quarterback seems really sweet and things like this. So it's just when I was watching the Cowboys game, the Cowboys Vikings game, I was really like, even though I knew they were our competitors next, it was like, oh no, it's such a shame. And they got such a beatdown, like you said. So, but they're the kind of team that you look at and go, oh, that's terrible. And they've got some serious weapons, as you mentioned, in regards to Thielen and stuff like that. And who did they just sign the tight end? Oh, yeah, Hawkinson. So, yeah, they've got themselves a decent tight end. So they've got themselves some decent players. So they've got the potential to do really very well. So, yeah, it's misty, it's murky, it's very difficult to predict which way this one's going to go, I'm afraid.
It is. It's a tough game to predict because there are so many variables that could possibly affect this, and any one of them could be the deciding factor in tipping the scales. I wrote a little bit about the Vikings' offensive prowess for Sports Illustrated, which is a piece that should be out sometime on Wednesday, and essentially comparing what the Patriots might do to try to defend guys like Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, and why that is a very precarious situation for the New England Patriots if either one of these guys gains traction and starts to go off. If the Patriots want to continue to take away their top option, which would be Jefferson, that's what Bill Belichick loves to do, take away your top option and make the other guys try to beat you, that could leave them vulnerable to defending someone like Hawkinson, who is capable of catching in the open field. One of the reasons why the Patriots were so effective in defending him when he was with Detroit a couple of weeks ago when they came into Gillette is because Kyle Duggar was in there, kept him on really a leash, held him to single-digit yardage, held him to, I believe, only a single catch, I think, in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So this is definitely something that the Patriots have to watch out for. I think the key to this game for New England is more on the defensive side of the ball than the offense. And if they can keep Minnesota's offense from putting points on the board and they keep the score close, you saw what can happen in a close game. The Patriots' special teams prowess, their defensive ability, big play, and also maybe an awakening of their offense a little bit might help them to carry them to victory. So, Claire, it's always an honor, always a privilege to join you here on the pod. Before I let you go, my friend, are there any more parting words of wisdom for our adoring public? Or if not, please let everyone know where they can find you, your great work, and what they can expect from the great pen and the great voice of ClazzyClare Cooper.
Yes, I'm afraid there's no parting words of wisdom from me. You guys should all know this by now. And if you don't know where to
We've
find
had our
me, you
fill.
should. Yes,
You've
you might as
already
well.
you've already broken the wisdom and counsel meter, so we're
Okay.
already at our limit. But being
Really?
Thanksgiving, we always like to overindulge a little on Thanksgiving. So I figured I'd give you one last chance for another scoop, but no, we're good. We are good.
Well, thank you, but no. Yes, my game recap will be as usual on patspropaganda.com as it is after every game, and it has been now like consecutively. I did a full season last year, and hopefully, touch wood, I'm doing a full season this year. So yeah, that's something that you can hopefully rely on is your game recap every day after game
Absolutely.
day type situation. So yeah, please do go and check that out. A Clare Perspective should be back next week because it was a bit of a short week. It was very, very difficult to squeeze one in this week. So I should be back with you next week. And I'd just like to quickly mention that in a few episodes will be my 50th. So please do keep an eye out for that, folks. And I do hope that you rate, review, and subscribe and all those things so that you don't miss an episode, because number 50 will be with you before Christmas. There'll also be a Christmas special just before Christmas. So as I said, please stay subscribed to A Clare Perspective so that you can find out that and don't miss it. And as you know, I am here for you each and every week on One Patriots Place with the lovely Steve Balistreri and Thomas Murphy. So if you need a spot of ClazzyClare in your week, you'll be able to find it somewhere.
Who doesn't need a spot of ClazzyClare in their week? That's what I want to know. I want to know who these people are, and I want to enlighten them, because it really does make your life brighter, folks. It truly does. You're a better person, and you're a more informed person and a better football fan as a result of that as well. All kidding aside, I really do. I cannot endorse what Claire does, whether it be putting pen to paper or voice to microphone, more than I already do. Tremendous stuff. The fact that you are nearing 50 episodes of A Clear Perspective is truly something that is really, it's
stunned. I'm really stunned.
Well, you shouldn't be stunned. No, I mean, you're there, for obviously, and that gives you an opportunity to go for the next 50 and the next 50 after that. And it's definitely something that I just can't believe it's come this quickly. It seems like just yesterday you were starting off on that show, and it has grown by leaps and bounds. Folks, please do yourself a favor, rate, subscribe, review, subscribe, whatever you need to do. Check out A Clear Perspective, brought to you by Full Press Coverage Patriots, and of course all of the great work, including the best recaps in the business, Claire does on patspropaganda.com. Folks, thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage, and of course, your first listen every day. Now that you've made us your first listen, make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On Sports Today. All of the news, all of the angles, everything you could possibly need in the world of sports, all in under 30 minutes, including the take of the day. And that is available wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be the Odyssey app, YouTube, or download, subscribe to on your preferred podcast method. Once again, I am Mike Debate. I thank you for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. And on behalf of the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper, please, folks, continue to stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. And don't forget to check us out on Thanksgiving Day. No days off here on Locked On Patriots, as we bring you a special Locked On crossover Thursday episode with Luke Braun over at the Locked On Vikings podcast, and of course yours truly. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on Thanksgiving Day right back here.